Hey there, TJ Show with Technological Gadgets, and today we will be reacting to apparently a $10,000 kind of I guess desk setup slash room setup, and something surprising about this setup is that it is made by a basically a 17-year-old, and as an 18-year-old myself, I know that having like a really good setup when you're really young is not something that everybody can have. And it probably looks slightly more different than setups that maybe a 20-year-old or like a 30-year-old would make. And yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see how his setup will look like. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. And for the YouTube channel that we'll be checking this out from will be Jaden's Random Review, so make sure to go check him out. And also, if you like this type of videos, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and subscribe if you like to help support the channel and what I do. Also comment down below, maybe commenting what sorts of setups you would like me to check out, and I'll be sure to check them out. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, pretty nice music. Yeah, sounds pretty nice. That looks pretty nice. It's Christmas themed because it came out during Christmas.
Before the video starts, if you don't know me already, my name is Jaden. I'm 17 years old. I'm a streamer and content creator, and over the years, I've been able to save up and build my insane room setup. If you've ever had a question about my setup, or you're new and you're curious to know what my setup is like, make sure you stay towards the end of the video because I explain everything. Alright, enough talking, let's get into the video. This is my Christmas themed setup, and let's first start with the PC. The PC is built inside of the Corsair 465X case. My motherboard
pretty good
is an
case.
Aurora X570.
Okay,
my CPU
yeah, pretty good motherboard.
Ryzen 7 5800X, and my AIO is a Corsair.
Okay, so an A-core 16 thread one.
2 gigabytes of 3600 Corsair Vengeance Pro RAM. I have a RTX 2070 Super, 500 gigabytes of M.2 storage, and 2 terabytes of hard drive storage. I also have 6 total LL120.
I would say it's a pretty good setup for what he's doing, content creation, the Ryzen CPU, 8-core 16 threads, and also the GPU, the 2070, which is good for gaming, streaming, and stuff like that.
Fans,
so pretty not bad. Decent amount of storage.
GPU and motherboard. Now, the reason that I chose to stick with all Corsair related products is so that I could easily sync all the RGB inside of the iQ software. And since the case already came with 3 LO120s, I only had to buy 3 more, and this saved me a lot of money.
Yeah, but the 3 packs still cost
Corsair related
pretty a lot, pretty
now,
much.
Backing up from the PC, let's now talk about my monitor setup because I get a lot of questions on this. My top monitor is an Acer XFA 240 144 Hz monitor, and it's 24 inches.
I have no idea why he will have a 144 Hz monitor on the top. And yeah, I see the problem here. Your webcam is blocking your top monitor, my guy. I would recommend you to move your webcam above so that your so-called so that your webcam does not block your monitor. And if it's too wide, you can always crop it in OBS, which I'm sure what he's using, OBS Streamlabs or whatever. They allow you to crop, so you can just crop it in, if you want to show your keyboard, mouse, or whatever it's below you.
Monitor is an Asus VG. I don't know the specific name for it, but I'll have everything linked down below in the description. It's 280 Hz, and it's
pretty good.
24.5 inches. Now, I was a little bit concerned when setting up both my third monitor.
Yeah, actually what I would recommend is like your top monitor, right? Maybe you could have like a productivity sort of monitor, maybe like a 4K, or like a really color accurate monitor, since you do a lot of, I assume he does a lot of editing, color work and stuff like that. So maybe he could have a top monitor as sort of like one of those really color accurate monitors, like for productivity and stuff, and then the below one could be for gaming. And then the side monitor could be whatever.
Considering that this is 24 inches and this is 24.5 inches, but it ended up working pretty good, and the bezels aren't that big of a difference. The bezels are a lot smaller.
Yeah, I can see the top one is an older monitor,
and they ended up lining up pretty good. It's not that big of a difference. Now on the left side, my vertical monitor is an Acer Nitro 23-inch monitor. I used to use this on my PS4. It's around 60 or 75 hertz.
Okay.
I can't remember. It's a great small monitor that I use for reading chat when I'm streaming. Let's talk about how I mount my monitors. Now, all three of them are mounted on one pole. Now, while it's slanted and looks like it's gonna fall over,
yeah, it looks a bit suspicious.
But the reason I did this is because I didn't want to wall mount any of them, because when I eventually move out, I didn't want to have to take a bunch of mounts off my wall. I just wanted to be on one pole. This
Start selling online with Shopify, the e-commerce platform that's trusted.
was just more convenient for me. Now, the monitor arm on the bottom is used for my main monitor and vertical monitor, and I actually took the other monitor arm that I used for my dual monitor setup and used it for my third monitor, because the original
that
mount
might be too much
with
weight.
this pole didn't allow me to move.
Yeah, what I'm afraid is that it might be too much weight, especially if, you know, older monitors are more heavy. It might be a bit too much weight.
Monitor into the position that I wanted it, so it ended up working out perfectly, and I'm very satisfied with my monitor orientation and the way I set everything up.
Yeah, maybe you should get a stronger monitor mount.
Padding in between my monitors.
Oh, that's actually a good idea
to protect my desk from getting any scratches. On the top of the monitor pole, I have this little
Mixed
clamp,
metal
and this
against wood,
clamp
so
is used to mount my old webcam, which is the Logitech
yeah, you need to move your old webcam out of the frame, man.
Cam for my stream.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's too much, right, you can always crop it in. But you know, yeah, you can't really use like your top monitor to its greatest effect from where you're sitting.
Monitor, I have my Elgato Stream Deck, which is one of my favorite things to have as a streamer. I can
for content creation especially.
Clip things. It's a little overpriced, but if you take full advantage of it, it can be a super cool
I guess so.
to your setup.
You can have like different setup. So let's say you can have one for streaming, you can have one for you know, his video editor, one for daily use and things like that.
Super cool addition to your setup. On the back of my desk, I have my Apple Watch charger.
Okay, that's a pretty good place to keep it, so you can keep it out of the place.
PC. When I dusted it out recently, I just forgot to put it back.
Actually looks pretty nice outside, not gonna lie.
On the right side of my desk, I have my audio interface, and this is the Go XLR Mini. This is one of my favorite devices to have.
I kind of like it that he slants it, because if it's, you see, especially when it's at the far end of the desk, so he can reach over comfortably. Because if it's straight, right, and it's like off to the side, it's very hard for you to use it, if you kind of know what I mean.
So convenient because I can adjust the volume of my microphone, my friends in Discord, my music, and my game volume. And I can also set it so that I can have my volume be a different level than my stream. So I can keep my stream volume at a consistent level, but change it up depending on what I'm doing. If I'm in a tense situation, I'll maybe lower my music and then turn up my game volume. So
and then you have the sub mix thing,
customization for my microphone,
so it doesn't mess up your stream audio, you know.
The microphone that I use is my Rode Pod mic.
Okay, it's a pretty good $100 microphone.
Windscreen on it.
I think it's like what, one of the best like dynamic microphones, like under $100.
With just plosives in general, this is a great microphone. I've been using it for the past 2 years. Absolutely love it. Now, the microphone arm that I'm using for my Rode Pod mic is the Rode PSA1. It's a pretty good microphone arm. It's a little bit.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, they have a combo for this, right? The Rode PSA1 with the Rode Pod mic, I think for like a bundle or something like that.
Big and tall sometimes.
So if you bought the bundle, you know it's worth it.
And then I also have a cheap Amazon Basics
Yeah.
XLR cable that runs from my microphone all the way around.
Yeah, but definitely
my mic arm,
one of
and then
the
under the inner like edge of my
Okay,
desk,
yeah, that's actually a
all
smart
the
way to cable manage.
to my Go XLR Mini on the right side of my desk. Now, the reason I have it like this and not the mixer on my left side is I just kind of got used to this, and I kind of like.
Okay, I guess
being
to
able
each his
adjust my
own. As
volume
long
on
as the
right
cable
side
management
and
is
having
clean,
my
you
mic
know.
on the left side. Let's now talk about my peripherals on my desk.
Okay.
The mouse that I'm using is the Logitech G Pro X Superlight.
Okay, a really like standard, you know, like very good mouse. If you're looking for a mouse, you know, one of the best mouse for like to give to anybody, the G Pro X Superlight is good because the shape kind of fits almost like anyone in a sense, you know, and it's not like other mice where, oh, you know, certain styles only fit, like the G303, you know, short edition. So, you know, for if you don't know like someone's grip style and stuff like that, and you want to give them a really high-end wireless gaming mouse, G Pro X Superlight is a really good option. Really good and safe
best
option.
mice on the market in general. I also have some of the
Yeah,
grip
in
tape
general,
on the
that's a
side of
very
it.
good
I
key
absolutely
point.
love the shape of it. It has a super long lasting battery life. I barely have to charge this, and if you have the money, I'd highly recommend this. The mouse pad that I'm using is the Gutsy Aiden mouse pad. It's part of his
Through my online store alone, we've sold over $500,000 worth of spices. That's so crazy.
island collection.
Yeah, I would say his mousepad choice is definitely a more aesthetic mousepad. You know, if he's going for pure performance, I wouldn't recommend this mousepad. You know, maybe you could get something that is more tailored, you know, to be like the speed that you like, the type of glide, you know, the type of control and things like that. But for a setup that I guess looks cool, you know, this definitely works. And a mousepad also protects the desk as well.
Mousepad. They're super thick, very durable. They're a little bit on the pricey end, but if you have the money, I'd highly recommend it. It's a beautiful mousepad, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, as I said, aesthetic mousepad. Mousepads can go two ways: aesthetics or just, you know, pure performance. And his one is definitely an aesthetic one.
In my setup. The headset that I'm
No
using
offense to
is
him
the
though.
HyperX Cloud Mix. I've been using this for the past 2 years, and the ear
Okay,
cups
yeah,
are
it's a pretty
starting to kind
good
of rip
headset.
apart, so I need to buy some new ones. It's a great
It's kind of like a HyperX Cloud, but like a sort of, you know, wireless version. There's Bluetooth, dongle, and stuff like that.
I'd eventually like to get
Basically
a
something
wireless
like
one
that.
in the future, but for right now, this is a solid headset. The
Yeah.
keyboard that I've been rocking with is a custom keyboard that I built myself. It's got a tofu acrylic, a brass
Okay,
plate,
custom keyboard
ink
is good.
blacks for the switches, GMK Belfonte keycaps, and some Duroc linears for the stabilizers. The coiled cable is
Okay,
from
coiled
Highstar,
cable
one of
looks
the
nice.
best coiled cables that I've ever used. I'd highly recommend it. They make great coils that last forever. Moving over to the
Actually, what I would recommend, right, for the quad cable is he can have a quad cable, his aviator showing, but after his aviator part, right, he could maybe drill a hole in his desk if he wants and route the other part of the cable down into his desk and to his PC. So what this does is not only does it show, you know, your not only does it have the best of both worlds where you show the quad cable and the aviator, but also have clean cable management at the same time. And I think that could be a really good addition.
I'd highly recommend it. They make great coils that last forever. Moving over to the left side, I have my tripod. This is where my camera would typically sit, but I'm using it to film this setup right now. It's a Canon M50 Mark II with
Okay,
a
pretty nice pretty nice tripod
lens. I'll show you what it looks like on my stream and what it
looks
like
nice
in most of my recordings.
Looks dope.
I absolutely love this camera.
Wide angle
It's
camera.
super good for the price point. I use a really cheap tripod to mount it for my stream, and I also
use one that's
some
really
blue
cheap.
tape under my tripod. The reason I do this is because when I move this tripod to record TikToks, I can sometimes mess it up, and this just makes it easier to put the tripod.
Instead of using tape that has so much white space, I would much rather you have, you know, one of those round stickers to put it there, so that not only can you pinpoint the exact location of it, but you know, also it looks much cleaner, like white dots instead of blue tape, you know, or like black dots or stuff like that.
For when I stream, I also have two cables that I use for when I stream.
Yep,
This one
same.
is hooked up to my cam link.
Mini
The
HDMI.
other one is for my dummy battery. These just
Okay,
plug into my
yep.
camera when I'm using it for recording and streaming. On the far left side of
Yeah,
my
for a
desk,
more
I have
stationary
two
setup.
other keyboards that I built. I'm starting to display them on this side. I just think it looks a little bit better. This is a
Okay, each his own.
with some KO Box Jades. This was sent out from Drop, as well as this one. Two solid keyboards. I love using them occasionally. And
Okay,
this
looks
is my
good.
newest build, the Drop Puronic. I recently made a video on this.
Oh,
If you wanna
okay.
Check it out. I'll throw it up in the cards. It's a 50% layout, the smallest keyboard I've built. It's got Aqua Kings in it, which have recently become one of my favorite linears, and I love using this, you know, just for everyday use, especially for typing. Let's now talk about my light setup. This is a softbox, which is, in my opinion, one of the best things to have. It does
Okay,
the
yeah.
majority of
I'm
the
using a
lighting
ring light that
on the
bounces
rest
off
of my setup, especially
a wall,
for
so
streaming. I picked this one up in a kit for around $100, and I'll link it down below in the description. On the right side, I have my newer ring light, which will run you around $100. It's a little bit
Okay.
expensive, but it does have the
Yeah.
option to control the brightness level, which I really
But
like.
it's a pretty
So I
big
can
ring
get
light, so
consistent lighting, especially when I'm recording.
probably a few years old, so
One of the
yeah, I would
newest
say.
additions to my stream setup has actually been this LED clock. I bought this on Amazon for around $30, and
Okay.
I mounted it above my setup. It's super cool. I absolutely love using this, and while
It looks
you're gonna
dope, it
say,
looks dope. dope.
that I already have a clock on my PC. This is just one of those little setup
Yeah, it's an
additions
aesthetic
that
piece,
I
I
ended up
guess.
really liking. And if you'd like to check this
It might.
Today, you have the opportunity to join the famous FTM Academy Pro course at a discount.
out, I'll link
Yeah,
this
like this reminds me of the the Lumetric like YouTube subscriber count and stuff like that. Like something like that.
in the description.
But the most
Let's now
simple
talk
version.
about my favorite part about my setup, and that's my desk. My dad custom built this for me. It's a
Oh,
small
that's
ticket
actually really
enclosure
nice.
desk with hints of walnut, and it also
looks-
has
it
a
looks really
secret
unique.
cable drawer on the bottom side of it. All I simply have to
Ah.
do is push in, and the door opens, and this is how I do all my cable management.
Honestly, it's not very
got
hard
this little
to
magnet.
make this, to be honest. Just extra, if extra pieces of wood lying around, you can just cut them, screw them in, and put one of those door hinges just right here, and then probably some magnets or something.
And all I
And yeah,
simply have to do is push up on it, it clicks back in, and it blends perfectly in with the rest
Yeah.
of my desk. On the bottom left of
Really
my
smart.
desk, I have my mini fridge.
Yeah,
I
I'm looking to
absolutely
get
love
one as
using
well.
this. I occasionally restock it. Drinks are really expensive, so I don't always restock it, but it's
my guy, you can get water to restock it. Or if you want, you can go like to Amazon, Costco, or one of those places and get one of those, massive, like, if let's say you like to drink a certain drink, let's say like Mountain Dew or like Coke or like Pepsi, you can get one of those like 24 packs or 34 packs, for discounts and things like that, and then you could fill up your whole entire fridge or mini fridge, and especially snacks. Or you can just go to the dollar store and you can, or if you're not very particular, you can go to the dollar store and find what works, and then you just buy a bunch of them.
super
In my
nice to
opinion,
have,
at least.
especially when I'm streaming and I want to grab a drink to keep me energized. On the far right side of my desk, I have my PS5 controller.
Okay.
I rarely use this. The only time I really use this is for Rocket League if I'm playing with some of my friends.
But if you don't have a PS5, which I think he doesn't, I think an Xbox, like one of the Xbox controllers, will be much better because it connects to the PC, like kind of much better in my opinion. But to each his own.
Playing a racing game like Need
If he
for
likes the look
Speed.
of it, I don't
It's
know,
super cool,
but
and I
yeah.
also have this 3D printed mount for
Okay,
it
it
that
looks
my
pretty
friend printed
unique.
me that my PS5 controller just sits on like that. The RGB light strip that runs behind my desk and
Oh.
under my first shelf is from Govee. My old
Yeah, I would say he should have 2 separate strips. I mean, unless he, is saving money, but other than that, I would recommend you to have like 2 separate strips and maybe a diffuser or something, 2 separate strips, one behind his desk and one just running up.
RGB strip
In my
recently
opinion, at
broke,
least.
and I picked this one up. Probably one of the best RGB strips on the market.
Yeah, it's
The
a really good
customization with
RGB
the
strip.
app is amazing, and I absolutely love
You can
it.
control
The
it
last
through
thing
Google
that I'd
Home
like
as
to
well
talk
and
about
Alexa
in
and
my
whatever.
setup is my horrible chair. I've had this for over around 2 years now, and it's really starting to fall apart. It
Yeah.
shakes, everything's loose, it creaks all the time, and the cushion is starting to wear off because I've sat in this for so many hours.
If the cushion wear off, what I would recommend you to do is you could try to get one of those $10 or $5 like IKEA seat cushions, and you could just buy a bunch of these and then just strap it to the chair and use it as a temporary solution. Alright, the key is temporary solution, not a permanent solution, but temporary solution to solve that issue.
And I can start to feel the bottom of the chair. It gets
Yeah, the
super
wood backing,
hot,
right.
And my next setup addition will probably have to be a new chair. That's all
Yep.
for my main setup.
Chairs are
Let's
really
now talk
important and
about
really
my
underrated,
shelves
to be
because I
honest. Mm-hmm.
get a lot of questions on these. This first shelf is my sports shelf. All the baseballs that you see right here have
Okay, yes,
either
a
been
theme for
caught from
each
baseball
level,
games,
which is nice.
From batting practices or home runs, and the ones in the little baggies and in the plastic little box are ones where I got them signed from MLB players.
Oh, okay.
I have some
Yeah, flip it
souvenir
for
cups
profit.
from the baseball games that I've been
Oh,
to.
okay.
And I also have a bunch of mini NFL
Oh,
helmets
that looks really
I've kinda
unique.
lined up. I think they look pretty cool. I have 2 replicas of Wrigley Field that we got when we went to the game. I have a soccer ball and water bottle from when my older brother went to
Oh.
Ukraine. He picked these up. Pretty cool souvenirs.
Nice,
This
nice.
first shelf is my sports shelf, and moving
Okay.
up on the left side, I have my And Pro 2, which I used to use when I was a sweat at Fortnite. Tifu made this keyboard popular, and this
Dang.
was my first keyboard.
Yeah,
that I
he
ever
made
picked up.
this keyboard
I have
popular.
a box full of keyboard switches,
Okay.
my AirPods,
Keep it
an SD
organized.
card reader right
That
here,
shelf makes
some camera
sense.
batteries and my dummy batteries, the remote for the clock that's above my setup.
Okay.
I have my sunglasses, bag that used to be my microphone bag, some camera lens protectors and stuff like that, some camera straps, and a Bluetooth speaker. Moving over, I have some camera battery chargers.
Okay.
This is
Yeah,
currently
these are pretty
charging in case
useful.
the camera I'm using right now dies. And
Little Red Riding Hood. Let's start the story a different way. It was dark inside the wolf.
I need to keep recording. These two weather stations are my older brothers. I have
Oh, that's
two
pretty
power
unique
strips
to have
on
a
either
weather
side,
station.
and this one is hooked up to my neon cloud. It's super tacky, but I still
No,
kind
no,
of like
I think it looks really nice.
On the far right side, I have all my
Oh,
G
you know, the
Fuel.
classic
I'll
G
be
Fuel,
honest,
you gotta
I
have
haven't
it.
had G Fuel in a super long time.
Yeah, I
found
never
that
had it
like
before.
other
Let me
energy
know
drinks
what
better than G Fuel, but
how
I
it
still
tastes.
like it because it makes a nice decoration for the background of my
Yeah, they do
stream.
have
Moving up from
really
that,
nice like art for G Fuel, to be honest. But I never tried G Fuel before, so you know, if you know how it tastes and how it tastes compared to like other energy drinks, let me know that in the comment section below. Cause for me, I just drink coffee. So there you go.
Just found that I like other energy drinks better than G Fuel, but I still like it because it
I
makes
mean, I'm a
nice
coffee
decoration
person,
for the
so
background of my stream. Moving up from that, we have the shelf where I get the most questions.
Apple
this
shelf?
is my Apple shelf where I keep all the Apple devices that
Or
I've
people
ever
call it
owned,
Apple
and
Shield
not
shelf,
all
you know?
these are mine. I want to make that clear. Most
Yeah,
of these
probably
are
not.
from my family, extended family, friends.
Yeah,
Literally
but it
anyone
does
that was
make
about
a
to throw away
pretty
Apple
good
box, I kind of just kept it
decoration.
and kind of made a little like museum, if you will, of all the Apple products.
I mean,
It
even if you
starts
don't have like friends or what that have Apple boxes, you can probably find them on like the roadside or whatever, you know, wipe them clean and, you know, just display them.
the oldest one that I have, the iPhone 3G.
Apple
I'd wanna
boxes
get
are
an
really
iPhone
quality,
2.
to
I
be
don't have
honest.
that. They're super rare. And
Yeah, they're like 10K now, like Jesus Christ.
moving up through the line of the oldest iPhones all the way up to the newest iPhone, I also have some MacBooks, my brother's headphones, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I have the same pair of headphones. If I'm not wrong, these are the Sony 950 N1s. If I'm not wrong, either the N1s or the BTs. I have them in green, I think.
That shelf. Now moving above that, we have some more boxes of some other peripherals that I had. Some of these are my brother's boxes, some CPUs that I've had because I've had so many issues with my CPU
Ooh,
in the past.
I feel you,
My
man. This
microphone,
is
old
sad.
microphone, and
Okay.
a bunch of other boxes like my audio interface, my graphics card, Elgato cam link.
So this is like the
and
other
above that,
tech
there's
stuff.
some picture frames of me and
Oh,
my
and then his
brother when we
personal
were
stuff,
younger.
yeah.
One last thing I forgot to mention is my setup cam on my top shelf. This is a super cheap webcam from Amazon that I use to display my setup on stream.
Oh, that's actually really nice.
It's connected all the way from this top shelf, and it runs all the way across and down into my PC. This is a super cool addition to my setup, and I
Yeah, what I would think is that maybe, you know, since you have all the lights blasting at you, maybe you could have like, I don't know, maybe a light or something, you know, like taped to it or on top of it or something to blast light behind you, you know, and when you switch to this, you know, it lights up the room, you know, and makes the image quality a bit better. But
all the
yeah,
way
that's
from
just
the
my
top
opinion.
shelf, and it runs all the way across and down into my PC. This is a super cool addition to my setup.
Yeah,
and I
it
love
definitely
showing
is.
This off on stream. That's basically all for my shelves. On the
The
bottom right
webcams
of
are
my
pretty wide
first
angle, so he can show like almost the whole entire room, which looks pretty nice.
shelf, we have my floodlight. This is super nice because I can essentially change the color of my wall to whatever I'd like.
Yeah.
The app is super convenient, and I've been using this for the background of my stream, and it makes it look so cool. Next is my bunk bed. Yes, I do have a older brother who is in college. He just basically uses this bed for sleeping, and that's about it. Now, I sleep on the bottom bunk, and in
Okay.
between the top bunk and the bottom bunk, I have a Govee Glide wall light. I got this sent out to me. This is super cool. One of the best RGB
Yeah, it looks really
accessories.
dope.
It's only around $100, and it goes on sale a lot.
Looks
I
like the
also
Life
have
X-
a RGB
Life X
strip
beams, you know.
that is on the inner layer of my bunk bed. You can
Oh,
kind of see the glow
yep.
from it. This is super cool, and I love
different
the way it looks
lightings.
on the background
that's
of
good.
my stream. Over on the right side, we just have some shoes, my laundry, my closet, which just
Maybe if he wants, I guess he could like have a shelf, you know, to show off his shoes. But yeah,
my laundry, my closet, which just has more boxes and keyboard parts.
Yeah,
and
you
the
do need
newest
to keep it
addition
clean.
to my room. This
Oh,
is
okay.
my productivity setup. It's powered by
so
the
that's
brand
his
new
like gaming and streaming setup and this like productivity setup.
14-inch baseline.
Yeah, I seen like many people do this where they have two different setup, one for like gaming and other stuff, one is for pure productivity, and one is for like for pure gaming, you know, and stuff like that.
M1 Pro MacBook sitting on a MacBook
And the
stand.
productivity
I have a
setup,
full video
usually
on the
it's a Mac
productivity
if they have
setup,
both
so if
setups
you'd
like
to
that.
check that out, I'll throw it up in the cards. I have a USB-C to USB hub for my keyboard.
Yeah,
and
but
mouse.
since the MacBook has a really good display, and it also has a really good webcam, what I would personally recommend is maybe to open it up, you know, and have like a laptop stand or sorts, and angle it so that you can use the inbuilt speaker. You can use the really good display as sort of like, you know, monitoring. Let's say if you're video editing or like photo editing, right, to just have your full screen like photo or video there that you're editing, and then the rest of the things on the second monitor for what he's using. And you can also use the webcam since it's on a laptop stand, you know, eye level and stuff, and the speakers as well. So in my opinion, I think that would be a much better solution, you know. In my opinion,
productivity setup,
he's using a MacBook. If he's using like you know, the Mac Mini, then yeah, I think this is good.
Check that out, I'll throw it up in the cards. I have a USB-C to USB hub for my keyboard and mouse, an HDMI to display from my MacBook to the ultra-wide monitor, and the cable to power my MacBook. The headset that I use for video editing with my MacBook is the Sennheiser PC30.
Yep, this is what I would recommend to change as well. If he's going for full-on productivity, he probably shouldn't use like a gaming headset. What I recommend you to use is studio monitors. There are a few like cheap options. One is the Audio-Technica M20Xs, M40Xs, M50Xs, or the Status Audio CB1s, which I reviewed on the channel, by the way. Those are really good options as well. If you know you're looking for like a budget sort of studio monitors, and I would recommend, you know, you to use like studio monitors for accurate sound, you know, especially if you know you do a lot of sort of what you call it, equalization. It helps a lot, you know, in that way.
37X. This is an amazing open back headset and I absolutely love it. Now the mousepad that I'm using is from Desker. This is a super solid mousepad. I love the look of it. It matches my keycap set and my mouse.
Aesthetic mousepad
the coil
again.
cable is also from Highstar, like the one on my main setup, and the keyboard is a drop control. I use a TKL because I mostly use this setup for editing. And
yeah, what I would recommend is maybe if you want, right, this is a productivity setup, you can have like a macro pad, a stream deck, or like a sort of and also a number pad beside, you know, just in case you need a number pad. This is the productivity setup, and you know, some sort of macro pad or something like that, you know, maybe above your desk or stream deck, you know, so that it will be like way faster and way more efficient for you to edit that way. Since he edits videos, I think.
Keys and a bunch of other keys is super helpful. It has Holy Pandas in it, and it has some drop MT3 keycaps. Now the mouse that I'm using is my old mouse.
Oh, yep, yet again. Gaming mice are not really very good for productivity. If you want to upgrade it, I would suggest maybe the great, like a very good option and very popular option is the Logitech Mx Master 3, which also works with Mac, which is really good. Or he could pick up if he doesn't want to spend that much money, which I'm assuming he might not since he's using a Model O mouse, and if you want to spend somewhere around like $50 for it, you can check out the Rapu MT750S and MT750L that I have reviewed on my channel, which is basically a wireless mouse, and it's basically like the cheaper version of the Logitech Mx Master sort of 3. And what is good about this is it has the vertical scroll wheel as well, so you can scroll through your timeline vertically, and it's wireless, you know, so you can move it around your desk anywhere you want. And you know, it's honestly just a much better productivity mouse than the Model O
setup. It's the glorious Model O.
in my opinion,
mouse.
at least.
It's great for getting the job done. I don't do any gaming on the setup, so I don't really need a crazy mouse anyway. On the right side of my setup, I have another floodlight,
this is
the same exact one as the one under my first shelf. Super cool and really illuminates my wall. Now this is my ultra wide monitor. It's 34 inches, 1080p, and it's 75 hertz.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. 1080p, 75 hertz. It's probably not a very expensive monitor, so you can use this for like his all the other stuff and his like color accurate things, you know, like his actual video preview and his actual like photo preview. He could have it like this widescreen on the MacBook screen, which is really color accurate, and then after that all the other stuff on the ultra wide.
This is a super cool monitor. I love using it. It's super helpful, especially when video editing, to be able to have a massive timeline, and I've been really liking this new setup. The Christmas lights that I'm using for my setup are a lot longer than I needed. They were the only ones I could use in my house, and so I decided to pile them up in the bottom right side of my desk. They go around
not really the best.
and they plug in.
I would suggest maybe you could get one of those cable boxes or just a shoe box in general. Put all of them in, close it up, like that power itself, put all of them in, you know, into a shoebox, close them up, and just have the rest of the thing just go.
Use in my house,
you know.
And so I decided to pile them up in the bottom.
That's a good way
right
to
side of my
reuse
desk.
Christmas lights.
They go around my window and then they plug in under my desk.
It gives you a nice vibe, I guess.
The chair that I'm using is an old office chair. It gets the job done.
I would say he could just use the, he could just use the chair, but if his brother, you know, that chair, but if his brother is using the setup, you know, maybe someone else or his brother might be using this setup, he could, you know, the second chair is, I guess, it's good.
Definitely not my favorite, but it's pretty good. And that's about it for my Christmas themed setup. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you're curious on how I was able to afford my room setup, my previous video, I explained everything, and I'll link that down below in the description.
Okay.
If you guys are new here and you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. In addition, I do stream over on Twitch, so if you'd like to catch me there, the link to that will be down below in the description. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment or join the Discord server. I try to reply to all comments as much as possible. Thank you again for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one.
And yeah, so in my opinion, this setup is really good. Of course, there are, you know, there's some changes that he could do, you know, to make the setup much better, but those are like minor things, you know. But overall, as a whole, this setup is actually surprisingly really good setup. And for, you know, like someone around my age who probably doesn't have much experience with setups and things, yeah, but as I said, for someone you know, my age, I think this setup is, you know, a really good setup, you know, especially, you know, since he probably doesn't have a lot of experience with setup. And I think over time, you know, he could, you know, do some things to improve his setup. And, you know, yeah, I'm really impressed by his setup, honestly, because my setup right now is not really good. But anyways, you know, if you like this type of video so far, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and you know, consider subscribing, you know, to help support me and this channel and stuff like that. And also comment down below, you know, what setups you would like me to check out next, and I'll be sure to do so. Last but not least, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.